السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. It's such a joy to stand before you and to speak to you tonight about MTI. I want you to know that MTI, Madrasatul Ilm, as Hamza said, School of Knowledge. A lot of people ask, what's MTI, School of Knowledge? Okay. I remember talking to the head of the non-public school at the DOE, the Indiana Department of Education, and he asked me, what's MTI? Because we were going through re-accreditation, and I told him it's a translation of School of Knowledge in Arabic. And when he insisted, I told him Madrasatul Ilm. I said, School of Knowledge is good. And we got, alhamdulillah, re-accredited, so I'm good. But 4 years ago, when I came to this community at a time where, we have lost half of our students. We stood at 129 students. There were some people who truly were talking about closing the school down, and that we cannot. It was mid-year. It was December break, and when they asked me, those of you who don't know me, my background is both in education and in law. And at that time we were dealing with the state because the state was making some assumptions and some statements about the school, and then dealing with the internal situation. And I said, I don't know. I was called at the time by a group of people who are trying to deal with a very difficult situation. I said, I need to come visit the school. And then I will tell you whether I can help or I can be a part of this. And I came, I was given unfettered access. I spoke to just about every staff member that was in the building, to most, if not all, board members. And I felt and I walked away feeling that this is a special place. Inshallah, this place will stand, that this place deserves to invest in. And alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. And I want you to know, and I'm going to get emotional on you, one of the things that at the time truly moved me is to hear the story of the founding of MTI. The four sisters that you see their names on the booklet in front of you. If you haven't opened it and read those four names, please read them. May Allah bless them, the ones who are alive of them, and bless their soul, the ones who have passed away. They, against all odds, a community that didn't have much back then, and a lot of people telling them, you are crazy, you want to start a school. And they refused initially to give them space in the masjid. They did it as a homeschooling in their own homes. And they did it until the community realized that these women are serious. And so then they made room for them in the school, in the masjid. And they started teaching in the masjid, and more kids joined. And then they took them seriously enough to build the building that is next door, as Muhammad mentioned. Between the masjid and the building of the school and the parking lot in between is a whole beautiful world that is happening every day and continues to happen. And the rest is history. I really, that day, decided that this is a place that is worth investing in. And alhamdulillah, 4 years later, I'm here to tell you that 129 students went back to being the number that it fell from, which was 240 students. Then it went to 278 last year. Then this year, alhamdulillah, we stand at 300 students. Alhamdulillah, 300 students. And we went from a school that was struggling to make ends meet to a school that was able to add 4 classroom modulars, and now we are looking at a preschool building that is separate and independent so we can accommodate our growth. And your presence here today and your support today is going to go towards that stability that inshallah will allow the teachers in the building and the people who are working every day to do the work that they do, that you heard from Muhammad about. By the way, Muhammad he didn't mention, I think Hamza probably mentioned, that I believe he is finishing or finished medical school, right? Working on his residency? No? PhD? PhD, yes. Alhamdulillah. And we have many Muhammads, alhamdulillah, some that graduated last year. And that's the second kind of frame that I want to move you to. Going last year to Umrah with our seniors. MashaAllah alayhum. Wallahi al-azim. I was very impressed. I was very impressed. I can tell you, we told them, for example, that every morning after Fajr we are to meet. We told them in the Masjid al-Nabawi, we will meet, at the, whatever it was, the 12th column. Hamza, remind me. 12th column entering from the door that comes in from Zamzam Hotel. And the mornings where they weren't there because they stood in line around 3 a.m. to be able to get into a Rawda and pray where the Prophet ﷺ said, between my house and my mimbar is a Rawda min Riyad al-Jannah, is a garden of the gardens of heaven. That they would go there at 3 o'clock and wait, because if you go there at 3 o'clock, everybody is fighting to get to that very small space to pray, to put their foreheads where the Prophet ﷺ put his forehead, where the Sahaba put their foreheads. And when we missed them, the days we missed them, we discovered that it's because they were late getting into the Rawda and they didn't want to come out. And so they prayed Fajr in the Rawda and they are late coming to us. The responsibility I saw from them, the true characters that we had from them. And I see them sitting there. I see Ali smiling at me over there. He was one of our stars in the Umrah, mashallah alayh. We tell them do this, they do it. I didn't try any of them, and I'm used to. I've been in education for 25 years. The best meaning of young high schoolers are at some point going to promise you something and they're going to not follow through with it. Not once. They were where we wanted them to be. If they promised us something, they followed up with it. And mashallah alayhum. We were supposed to do 1 Umrah. I think they ended up doing 3 Umrahs within that 4 days in Mecca after we moved from Medina. Those are the kind of students that we have, that we are producing. In addition to them going on to college to be in very challenging fields, developing into professionals, developing into community leaders. But all of that, in my mind, would not happen if it were. And if you ask me what is the absolute most crucial, important thing that led to this success of the last 4 years, I would say, without a doubt, in my mind, without a doubt, it's the leadership of this community that saw through this change and this development. And that is our board of directors. And I want to ask each and every one of them to stand and be recognized right now. Please stand up, board members. Please. Yes. Look at them, at their faces. Look at them, at their faces. Brother Hassan Yusuf, my sister Zainab, sister Halima, brother Henry, my brother Malik, and I know, where is sister Safaa? MashaAllah, she is, yes, Shukriya is going like, my sister, how come she is not here? She used to be, MashaAllah. Yes, she is working, but that's the kind of leadership we have. That's the kind of leadership we have. And I have to recognize Brother Iyas, who took on the transition leadership that he handed, the baton to Sister Halima after that. I say that because we had to take some very tough decisions. We had a community that is, in some respect, doubtful, in some respect, burned, in some respect, angry, in some respect, fearful, and they didn't know what's happening. And we had, as a school, as administration, Sister Hiba, in fact, the very decision to go ahead and have Sister Hiba become the principal and ask her to go get her certification as a principal while she is training on the job was a very courageous decision to take. It was taken because this board ignored all the noise and they focused on facts. They focused on our reality, what's going to move us forward, and they took the courageous decisions. We made many difficult decisions, and if it weren't for these people being selfless, being resolute, being consultative among each other, I know that there were times where some board members weren't that happy with the decision, but the majority went with it, and they went with it. And Allah put barakah in that. Put barakah in that. After that, it's the staff of the school, that really stood up with us, stood up in the most difficult of times. And I want to take a minute also to ask them to stand up, because the students, when they stood up with the teachers, kind of covered them, because mashallah alaikum, a lot of you. So I want the teachers to stand up to be recognized also on their own. So please, teachers. And I want to recognize April in the back, our math teacher. Not because I'm partial to math, but because she walked in. I have to say, she had no stake in the school. But she walked in, talked to the kids, talked to some of the parents, and she said, I want to teach in this school. And she gives it 110%. And you know, everybody is grateful for the effort that she and all the other teachers are doing. But that's the kind of community we have. It is a village. It is a village. It is, I pray and hope, a translation of what Islam looks like in reality. It is full of real people. Nobody is perfect. Not the administration, not the board, not the teachers, not the students, not the parents. But all of us, our hearts are with each other. All of us, when a parent comes complaining, the first thing I know is that they mean well. They want the best for their child. And I receive them that way. And the teachers receive them that way. And they know that the teachers are trying their best to help and teach their children. And they treat them that way. And the same with the board, and the same with everybody. That's, to me, is what's unique about MTI. Because it's not a one-man or one-woman show. It is a group of people that believe in each other. A group of people, no one among them had a magic wand. No one among them, you know, has the riches of the world. We scrape to make sure that we have enough to reach the end of the year, but alhamdulillah, year after year now we have made it. We are in much better shape than ever. Inshallah, with this banquet being successful, we will be able, inshallah, to move on to the next stage, where we will be able next year, because at 300, by the way, that's our capacity. If we don't have that preschool building by the end of this summer and get it ready by August, we will be turning away some children of this community. And that's the last thing I want to leave you with, in that a lot of people question the value of investing in schools, in Islamic schools. They feel like, you know, first, are you keeping them in a bubble? And second, you know, even all Islamic schools won't take more than 2-3% of the Muslim children more. I can tell you, as someone who has spent now 25 years in education, who has gotten into law and practiced law full-time for 3-4 years, and then said, you know what? This is nothing compared to investing in our future and in our community and in education, and found, alhamdulillah, a way to do both. But I can tell you that the role that the graduates of Islamic school play out there is absolutely indispensable. And some of you may have heard this anecdote from me before, and I will repeat it. In Chicago, we have 13 Islamic schools, 5 of them are high schools. They graduate among them about 200 kids a year. That's it, about 200. The largest graduate 50 children, the smallest graduate about 20 children. And so 200, you get about over 5,000 Muslim children graduating every year in the Chicagoland area. In the Chicagoland area, there's about 100 colleges and universities. 15 of them are considered the top, you know, Northwestern, University of Chicago, you know, Loyola, DePaul, UIC, etc. What you will see, and I happen to find that by chance, but by experience, in that one of my students that graduated one day called me up and said, Mr. Zarzour, can you give khutbatul Jum'ah at DePaul? And I can tell you, and I always say this, is that he wasn't necessarily one of our most, you know, devout students. He was a kid that you chased him to go to prayer. And he was a kid that really, you know, every once in a while complained about being in an Islamic school. So it surprised me that he would even tell me, come do the Jum'ah prayer he was at DePaul at the time, at DePaul. And I said, Ahmed, you know, why are you calling me? He said, I am on the MSA board and I am in charge of, lining up Jum'ah khatibs. I said, okay, I would love to. So I went at the appointed time and I gave khutbatul Jum'ah. Afterward, he said, I want to introduce you to the rest of the board. You know, 4 sisters, 3 brothers, and they started naming what schools they graduated from. And 3 of them were from Universal, 2 of them from the Islamic Foundation, 1 of them from CPSA, another Islamic school, and only 2 of them were from a public school. So it hit me. Here's 5 schools graduating, 200 students versus about 6,000 coming from the public school. They make about 80% of the MSA board in the school. They're responsible for the Islam Week on campus. They're responsible for Justice for Palestine group. They are responsible, you name it, they lead it. And it hit me. Some of them later on, as I discussed and talked about this with some of our graduates later on, they told me, Mr. Zarzour, we always questioned whether we are learning enough Islam in the Islamic school until we got to campus. And we got Muslims who grew up like in Peoria and in southern Illinois, in small towns. They are fasting for the first time. They are coming asking us about, Siyam, and how do you, what breaks your Siyam and what doesn't. And we started telling them, and all of a sudden we realized, wow, we know a lot. Some of them are praying for the first time. They are coming to learn Salah from us. And it hit us that the Islamic school taught us a lot. And that's the truth. And today, if you go any event in Chicago, and I know it's similar in Indianapolis, and I know it's true for this event, any place, the graduates and the students, the seniors and the juniors of Islamic schools tend to be the majority of the volunteers. That's a fact. They volunteer in, whether it's MAI, whether it's, ISNA, whether it's MTI or Al-Fajr, whether it is whatever organization, you look at their volunteers, and good number of them are either current or graduates of Islamic schools. So it is worth it. Those of you who question, who shaitan come to them to tell them, you're wasting critical money, they can build more masajids, they can this, they can that. I really want you to know that I believe with all my heart that this is perhaps the most important investment that one can make as a Muslim, inshaAllah ta'ala. So Jazakumullah khair for being here. We're celebrating, alhamdulillah, our success. And we are, on to new successes, inshaAllah, with your help, with your support, and with also the trust and help of our parents and the perseverance of our students who know that we are not perfect, and they put up with us and we put up with them. But at the end, we are thankful for them, and I hope and pray they are thankful for us, and we are thankful for you. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.